Welcome to Inside Design with Kandrak and Cole, hosted by two nationally published Atlanta interior designers, Joanne Kandrak and Kelly Cole. These energetic women are also world travelers, charity givers, and bloggers with a wealth of information to share and stories to tell about the interior design world. Okay, now just a warning, this is going to be fun and not too serious. After all, they still do have an interior design business running at full speed.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to Inside Design with Kandrak and Cole. This is episode 82. And today we're going to be talking about the One Room Challenge. And there's going to be two parts of this because there is so much to share. If you followed our blog, you will see what we've been up to. But we were very honored to be asked to participate in this One Room Challenge. So 20 design influencers were selected from around the country to take the challenge of transforming a room and documenting the process and sharing their sources and professional advice over the 8 weekly posts. The One Room Challenge is currently in its 17th season, and it's a very highly anticipated biannual event that's held every April and October. So before we get into the meat of it, I want to let you know that this episode is sponsored by Helser Brothers Hardware. Helser Brothers are fully custom manufacturer of drapery hardware. It's run by some cool brothers named Jay and Mark. Jay was an expert independent drapery installer and designs new products that are installer friendly and engineered for strength. And Mark, he's a talented metal worker with a mind of an engineer and has been regarded as the mechanical genius by all who know him. Helser has an outstanding reputation. They've been in business for 24 years. Their customer service agents, I love this, are known as the Rod Squad, and they include retired interior designers and drapery workroom owners with decades of experience. They can customize anything, and any order of $100 shipped for free. You can see their products at helserbrothers.com, find them on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and Pinterest. Or you can listen to our interview with Jay Helser on episode number 71.
So thank you, Helser Brothers. So when we were approached to do the One Room Challenge, we decided that we would focus on our podcast studio. And so that's the space that we are totally transforming and the one that we're blogging about. However, when we started this process, COVID was not a thing. So now that so many of us are working from home and doing Zoom calls and all this video conferencing and our lives have changed, it seems appropriate that this update is really relevant to all of us working at home and trying to make our spaces more functional and visually attractive at the same time. So it turned out to be a win-win that we chose this space, and then now all of a sudden everybody's super interested in how to make their home office, podcast studio, whatever you want to call it, more functional.
So episode 1 hit the airwaves. So Inside Design with Kandrak and Cole started in January of 2018. And so Kelly and I have been recording in the same spot. And here we are in episode 82. Woo-hoo! So one thing that we are not changing is our production company called Produce Your Podcast. They offer a full service turnkey remote recording service with a live engineer, our buddy Russ, that does it in broadcast quality. And then they do all of the editing, the sound mixing, and the post-production of the podcast. So we love that part of it. And that was one of the things that we determined from the very beginning was that we wanted high quality sound. So there's nothing worse than listening to a podcast or even being on a video conference where it's hard to hear or it's kind of fuzzy. So another goal of ours is to video our podcasts. We have found that there are some people who don't either like to listen to podcasts and amazingly don't know how. So we purchased a ring light, and that's about as far as we've gotten for that right now.
Yeah, we and for those of you that don't know what a ring light is, it's a big light that shines a really great kind of newscaster light on our faces, so that we will be lit up and lit well when we finally do start video broadcasting our podcast. But let us give you a little update or a little background on our current podcast studio. So it's in our Kandrak and Cole office in Kennesaw, Georgia. We have been recording from home for the last 2 months, and props to Produce Your Podcast, because I think we sound pretty darn well coming from home. And I've noticed quite a difference in other podcasts, recording remotely, and I don't think they sound nearly as good. So anyway, our house that our office is in is a 2-story house. And it's in a little cute cul-de-sac of 8 historic homes that are all businesses. And we work on the top floor, and we use the bottom floor for storage, our conference room, client presentations, and our studio. So prior to the One Room Challenge and this big transformation, we had the space. It was just kind of really an overflow workroom. We had grand thoughts in the beginning that we'd have this slew of interns and that's where they would work, or perhaps we would rent it out to somebody else and help us with the rent, but it never worked out. So we have just had overflow fabric books, finish samples, carpet tile, countertop material, wallpaper samples, just a whole bunch of stuff in there. And we ended up recording in there because the sound absorption was actually really good because we had 2 walls filled with fabric and there's carpet in there. And it was a quiet place for us to go. So that's where we've always been recording, but we never liked, it was just like the back junk room. We never really liked it.
Yeah. So that's how that came to be. So this is what we did so far. So we've removed everything from the space to start completely fresh. We had a lot of fabric samples on the wall where Kelly said, well, we use this. It's a Rubbermaid fast track wall organizing system that kind of juts out, and we were able to put the fabric books on there. If you read our blog, go to the One Room Challenge Week 2, and it shows the system. After we posted that blog, we had so many people asking us, what was that? Because it really works great for wall organization. So originally this room was painted green. It was a pretty happy green, but we wanted to just kind of make it a lot more, make the walls, for one of the ideas we had, to make the walls just be very plain. And so we painted over the green in Sherwin-Williams Spare White, which is SW6204. It's light and bright, and we want to thank Sherwin-Williams for donating the paint, and to Virgin Associates here in Atlanta for painting the room for us. So if you go to podcast episode 55, Kelly and I talk about our favorite white paint colors there. And then also check out Sherwin-Williams Designer Color Collection. It's a brand new collection of 200 new colors, including brighter and purer whites.
I'm so excited about that new collection. I'm loving the new whites, and you and I were talking about the new white gypsum white. Mm-hmm. I'm so excited to use that. I can't stand it.
Yeah.
It'd be really cool. Okay, so we selected the entire paint palette for this space based on our new branded colors that we created at the end of 2019 with the help of Frankie Durbin. You can look her up, FrankiDurbin.com, and Emery Cole Designs. That's my daughter. They just did a great job for us, helping us start over, basically. So the color palette for the brand is now the color palette for our podcast studio. And those colors are navy, blush pink, and chartreuse. So that was kind of the kickoff.
That combination.
I know.
I love that combination.
It's great when you design, you make a decision, and then time goes by, and then you look at it with a fresh eye, and you still love it.
Yeah.
And then you're like, yes, we did it.
Yeah. So from there, we had to determine the needs and function for the space. And of course, good sound absorption. That's pretty much at the top of the list. We needed comfortable chairs for ourselves and then any guests of the podcast. We were sitting on some stools that were not very comfortable. We needed a way to hide all those design resources because we still really needed to keep them in that space. A way to organize and hide our equipment wires. There's a lot of equipment and a lot of wires that are involved in this, and they can cross over, and it gets very junky. Crazy when got wires all over the place. It's hard to concentrate. And then we wanted larger microphones for more comfortable speaking posture. If anybody's interested, we use the Audio Technica, the AT2005 USB, and I think the sound is crystal clear, and they're not super expensive. Mm-hmm. And then one of the things that we wanted to do was put some artwork in this space that would energize and inspire us. And lastly was to get some really good statement lighting in there.
So the thing that makes the One Room Challenge exciting is that they've got tons of super sponsors behind them. And we are asked to rely on those sponsors. And then if we want to add anybody else to our renovation or our space design, we have to get approval for that. And so we just loved the sponsors that were involved, and we have such great relationships with our manufacturers, given our 15 years in the business, that we reached out to a few extra as well. But we started out with Blueprint Lighting of New York. We had never used them before, so this was great to get to know them. We, like Joanne said, really wanted some statement lighting, and Blueprint Lighting is known for their custom handmade lighting that's got kind of a mid-century modern inspired look, and they're handcrafted. So they work with designers, decorators, architects, and we chose the 3-arm Monarch chandelier. You can customize the enamel in a whole bunch of colors. We went with the blush pink to fit our brand color. So check out their website. It's blueprintlighting.com, and look at their ceiling fixtures. They also have amazing pendants and flush mounts, floor lamps, and walls, and of course sconces. So check out, when you're on the site, check out the tuxedo wall sconce, because it is so great.
Yeah, and their colors are so rich and beautiful. They really would make a huge statement in a room. So yeah, so excited to have found them, and they were great to work with. So
yeah.
The next thing we needed was a table in this space. It's not a huge space. It's 12 by 14 maybe, Cal?
Yeah, maybe a little smaller.
And so we wanted something, once again, to be light and bright. And so we went to one of our favorite case goods manufacturers called Woodbridge Furniture. And so we want to thank them because they really are a high-end brand of case goods, dining, occasional, and outdoor. And they make beautiful and transitional pieces. So we decided that we knew this table would probably have to have grommet holes in there because we wanted to stick the wires down in there. And so we chose a really pretty one that had it was a pedestal table, but the center had pieces kind of coming out that could hide the wires. You'll see all this when we post pictures in the blog post. But they make really beautiful furniture. I love that you can customize any color with either a paint chip or a specific manufacturer's color that they will match to it. So there's something about a really cool traditional piece of furniture that's painted in a fun color. That's what I love about them. And they have amazing bar stools and tables. And they just came out with the new collection from Lauren Lease. And it is called, there's this great piece called the Revival Chair, Counter, and Bar Stool. So cool. Check that out. They're Woodbridge Furniture, WOODBRIDGE, furniture.com.
And Joanne, you may have mentioned it, and I wasn't paying attention for a slight moment, but I'm not sure you said we chose the Helene breakfast table for our
it is
space.
The Helene breakfast table.
Yes. Okay. So I was paying attention. And we loved it because it's 44 inches round, and 44 inches round is hard to find, believe it or not. You see a lot of 30 inches that are more kind of like something for a foyer or a big end table. And then they tend to go to 48, 60, 72, and so forth. So this was Joanne really hunted for this table, and we chose the Luna finish, which is a really pretty kind of weathered driftwood ivory. It's so pretty in person. I just love it. So check out Woodbridge. I think a lot of designers, I don't know, they don't seem to be in the forefront of everybody's mind, maybe like a Stanley or some of the other brands, and they're just amazing.
Woodbridge has been around a long time, and we were just recently introduced to them because of Toby Fairley, who came out with the collection for them. And so, we feel like we know everybody that's out there because we've been in the business so long, but there are some hidden gems, and I think Woodbridge Furniture is one of those.
I do too. And I almost think that Fairfield Chair is one of them too. And that's the company that we went to for this 4 swivel chairs. And let us say that everybody that we approached, Style Blueprint, or did I say that wrong? Blueprint Lighting, Woodbridge and Fairfield, they all immediately responded yes. There was no hesitation. I mean, we got an immediate email back. So they were really excited to work with us for the One Room Challenge. So Fairfield, we wanted 4 really comfortable swivel chairs around this table because our thought was, we're not going to just use this for a podcast studio anymore. This is going to be where we hold our team meetings. We might have casual meetings with sales reps or clients in this room. We'll definitely have our podcast and our guests there. And so we really want it to be multifunctional, and we wanted it to be comfortable, because the way our office is set up, there's no way where to go to just like lounge. Everything is desks, and so this is a really comfortable space. So we chose the Tipsy swivel chair. It has a tight, it's kind of a petite chair. It has a tight back. It has a brass base at the bottom, so it's really cool. You can add nail heads to the chair if you want. It also comes with a dual USB port, which I think is so cool, that you can plug your phone into a chair. We selected to do a COM, which means customer's own material, if you're not familiar. And we used a fabric in the trend line of Fabricut, which was another great sponsor, and we use Fabricut a ton. We chose fabric 04250. Which is a solid chartreuse, and it comes from the Vern Yip book called Palisades Velvet. So look that up. Chartreuses, I think, are hard to find, and this was a perfect like yellow-green, and it's a beautiful
chairs
velvet.
Are so beautiful. They're great. Beautiful. And Fairfield is one of those manufacturers. It's been around since 1921, and they do a lot of office and hospitality, case goods. And they just recently, for the fall marker, partnered with interior designer and television personality Libby Langdon to design several upholstery pieces and case goods, as well as some bedroom furniture, which is a first for Fairfield. So they debuted at the High Point Market. They have such a huge variety of products and beautiful fabrics, beautiful finishes, and we really appreciate their generous donation to this cause. So check them out at fairfieldchair.com.
So when you read the blogs, you'll see that in our very first blog, we talk a lot about how the wires of all of our equipment was making us crazy. In that Woodbridge table we were talking about, Joanne mentioned that we put grommets in, and in our next episode we'll tell you how that happened. But we still had a bunch of equipment, and we didn't want it on the table with us, which is how we had it before. So we approached Curry & Company, and Curry & Company, as you know, they are a sponsor of this podcast. They are just a delightful company to work with. And we chose the Thea Credenza, and it has this light wood finish. It has 2 cabinet doors with 4 shelves and 2 drawers, and it's where we're going to put the podcast equipment in our podcast laptop, just to keep everything nice and tidy behind the cabinet doors. But look it up, because this piece could go anywhere. It could go in a foyer. It could go in a dining room to hold silverware. It could be
in a bedroom.
In a bedroom with a TV over the top.
Yeah, it could be used as a dresser.
It's very fine, but it's not too dressy. It's got this beautiful ivory finish with these black knobs, and I totally adore it. So that's where we put it in front of a big window, and all the equipment will be in there.
Yeah, and that's the thing about Curry. People don't. They just because they're called Curry Lighting, you forget that they sell amazing furniture and accessories and some really cool outdoor benches and stuff. So Curry has a lot more than lighting, and really the times that we've used their furniture, I'm starting to remember them more, because every piece that we've ever done of theirs I really, really love.
Yeah. So Joanne, by the time people hear this, we will have 6 blogs out all along the way, because this will come out next Wednesday, from when we're recording. So you guys will appreciate the journey, because when you see the podcast studio when it started, and we discuss all along the way all of our sponsors and everything we did and how we came up with all the designs and the colors, I think it's really inspiring.
Yeah. Well, there's some bloopers, which of course,
we got some bloopers for you.
There's always a couple things that just don't go quite right, but it's great because it's a good learning experience, and I think one or two of the things that happened will probably be really good learning for some people.
On all the home makeover shows, HTV and whatnot, there's always a crisis. There's always a, bleep moment. And you think, oh yeah, right, they totally made that up. Well, let me tell you, we did not make these up. We were not appreciative of these moments when they came up. We handled them very well, and everything worked out.
Yeah, and it's funny, like we were saying, because so many people are doing video conferencing and work calls, it really makes a difference to be able to sit in a space and enjoy being in there. If it's a temporary thing, that's one thing, being in a guest bedroom, having terrible lighting, or kind of how we were in that space. Like our podcasts are 25 minutes. Nobody would really see us. We kind of just did it. But now that we have really jazzed this space up, like we're re-energized, I think, to be doing
I don't even want to be in my office.
Space.
I just want to sit down there the whole time. I mean, if you can't find me, that's where I'm going to be. I'm so in love with it. So, yeah, I mean, the next thing we need is we just need a little baby refrigerator in the corner for some, beer and wine at 5 o'clock and Diet Cokes during the day. And we'll all be good. So we're going to keep talking about this, everybody. So in our next episode, 83, I can't believe we're on 83, we will dive into the fabrics we selected, the amazing artists that we use, because we put together this huge art gallery that is quite delicious. And we put our podcast tile logo on the wall. That was quite a venture. And we had it professionally photographed. So we'll talk all about the people that helped us in the decisions we made. And so that when you guys are looking at your home offices or your podcast studio or whatever workspace, your artist studio, whatever you have, maybe you'll get some tips.
Yeah. So is it quote time?
I think it is.
I want to do the serious one because I think it's so true.
Okay.
Go ahead, Cal. You can do the funny quote.
I thought this was kind of cute, and I hope this happens to me. My fiance told me that he has feelings for someone he met at work this week. He's been working from home.
It's so sweet.
It is. I'll have to ask Mike what the girls look like in the office. See if he says anything.
Okay, so this serious quote. I mean, when I read this, I thought, oh my God, this is really, really true. And as time goes on, I see it more and more. I've just talked to so many different people about working from home, how much they love it and how they feel less stressed and just not dealing with the traffic and, worried about getting dressed and lugging all your briefcase and everything, So this really resonated with me. So it says, our new reality is reframing what it means to be together. Our home is everything now. It's our office. It's our gym. It's our children's classroom and their playground. Our new restaurant is our own kitchen. And that is from the National Association of Realtors. It's really becoming true.
Well, and I really hope that now that things are slowly opening up and people are getting braver to venture out, that you will pick up the phone and you will call us, or you at a minimum will go to our website and candrack-cole.com and have us do an e-design for you, or you can choose to just pick our brain for some advice. But we're slowly having our clients call us back, and we're seeing the ramifications of being home and staring at walls for many months. So let us help you for sure.
Yeah. Yes.
That's what we're here for.
Yeah. So stay tuned for part 2. We'll give you the rest of the juicy stuff that we're doing in this podcast studio. I think it's really going to be very inspiring for a lot of people. And you don't have to have a podcast studio. This could be your home office.
Exactly. So head to our website, candrack-cole.com, KANDRAC-KOLE.com. And in the top right, just click on blog and they'll be up at the top and you'll see weeks 1 through 5. Actually, you'll see weeks 1 through 6. Yeah.
And if you're interested in starting a podcast, go to produceyourpodcast.com, who does our production, and they do turnkey service. They're awesome. And even if you just had questions, you can just check that out.
Well, thanks for listening, everybody. Stay safe, stay well.
Bye, everybody.
Join Joanne and Kelly weekly for a lively conversation about trends, travels to industry events, current design projects, the good, the bad, and the ugly, do's and don'ts, product recommendations, and more. Be sure to follow the fun on Facebook. They're on Instagram at Candrack-Cole, and of course, you've got to visit them online at candrack-cole.com for more information.